Hi, and welcome to Across the Desk. Well, our governor has been out and about, crying about this and crying about that. Mostly he's crying because he's losing and not getting his way, and when he doesn't, then he tries to find people that should be his scapegoats, and he tries to get rid of them and whatnot, and that's what we're going to talk about this week right here on Across the Desk. So Kevin Stitt, like we all know, likes to throw tantrums a lot when he doesn't get his way or when he loses at something. And then he just can't quit, so he keeps losing because he doesn't know how to win. He doesn't have that capacity really to think ahead and figure things in a logical manner. He just keeps repeating the same stuff. And we get to see this. And here we go, good point case. The Julius Jones thing. Here we have a guy on death row. We have a commission that he went to first, the Pardon and Parole Board. And they decided, hey, he probably deserves clemency. Well, this kind of made a few people angry. This guy's due process happened, and it didn't turn out the way they wanted. So, people like Oklahoma County DA David Prater goes after the people that sit on the Pardon and Parole Board. Say, we need these people removed. They're biased. Of course, David Prater's not biased. Even though this innocent man possibly could be innocent, we're going to kill him. Totally biased because of his individual views. That's what that's down to. That's what this is about. And it's the same thing with Kevin Stitt, because that's his individual view. I believe in the death penalty. Well, if you've been convicted and everything else and gone through your deal, well, we need to go through the conviction. But there's a little couple of little steps before that happens. There's clemency hearings. There's a clemency hearing and a Pardon and Parole Board review, right? Well, the Pardon and Parole review happened. This is part of the due process of this gentleman's everything. This is how it works. This is the legal process. This is what it works for everybody, how it should. And this is what the scary thing is these people like David Prater and our governor and the DA, not the DA, but the Attorney General, the AG. And I don't know why I'm adding the Attorney General in. He's really just a puppet for Stitt. So it's really just Stitt telling the AG what to do. So that's what this is, going after these people that decided, we think he might be innocent. Because that's what they do. That's what they were hired to do or assigned to do on this board. And these people, they've been vetted. These people are there. They have the authority to do what they did and say, hey, we think there's a few discrepancies in this and this guy might be innocent. That's what they did. But the people like Governor Stitt, well, you need to lie about that because this is our principles that are at stake. And that's where Governor Stitt comes from. These are conservative values. These are their values. Hey, your due process rights, we don't think you should have them because our principles are that if you're convicted, you go through everything, you should be executed. This stuff about Pardon and Parole Board and clemency hearing, that's just all a bunch of fluff. It's a bunch of baloney. It's just there for you to look good because we really just want to execute you. And that's really where we're at with the Julius Jones thing. So all this goes down. Everything else, so now the governor has the AG go to the Supreme Court and say we want these people removed. I don't know if they'll do it. I don't think they can. I don't think they will. But that's exactly what's going on. Stitt's asking the Attorney General to have these people removed, Pardon and Parole Board, because of the way they decided they were going to move on this particular case. They are well within their legal, constitutional, and any kind of rights they had to do. But since it, made Kevin Stitt a little miffed, well, he wants to go at him. And, and he's not going to go at him. He's going to have other people do it. Because that's just the way Kevin Stitt is. And that's the first issue that we see right here with Kevin Stitt in the last couple of weeks. Going after these guys sitting on a Pardon and Parole Board for how they decided a case. That's just so petty. But, it's so typical of Kevin Stitt. Because the man's a coward. Down deep inside, that's really what this all comes down to. That's really what it comes down to. Because in our next instance here, we have a glaring instance of Kevin Stitt and his whiny little pouty self. Because here we have a person, a they, a them, who live in Oregon, born in Oklahoma, who want their birth certificate to reflect their gender identity as a non-binary person, individual. It's what they wanted. They even went so far as to go to court, and it was settled out of court so that they could do that. And see, it doesn't really harm anyone to let this person do it. It doesn't harm anybody. Just let that person do it. You don't even know him anyway. But here we come in, Kevin Stitt. Kevin Stitt, again, goes after the people that did this. Talks about how big of an affront this is to his God. Yeah, that's right. He wants to bring his religion into it. See, his God disapproves of this. So that means you have to too. That means you have to follow the law of me and my God because, he's the governor or something. I don't know. That's totally un-American to do something like that, in my opinion. It's totally unconstitutional. It's totally outside the bounds of anything I would ever think of as being American or freedom at all. To say, you know what? My God is the most important thing here, and his beliefs and principles that are my beliefs and principles are now yours. Because I'm gonna, and if they're not, I'm going to force you to live by them. Even if you don't live in this state. If you were born here and you live somewhere else, I'm still going to force you to live by them. This is Kevin Stitt using big government conservatism. That's what this is. Big government conservatism. Coming in, tell you how you're going to live your life. Because my God said so. It's exactly what this is. You see it not just with him, you see it with James Langford too. He does the same thing. But that's what this is. This big government conservatism from our governor, Kevin Stitt, who just can't take the fact that somebody wants on their birth certificate. Now let's mind you, this is somebody the governor's never met, will never meet, and probably doesn't know anything about or ever will. But it's such an affront to him that he's got to use his power to go after this individual and others who would so go against his principles and beliefs. Because that's what he said. Hey, these are Oklahoma values. What does he mean by Oklahoma values? I don't think the man knows what values are. His values, I know what conservative values are. The values that say, hey man, it's A-okay for guys like this to tell lewd jokes about women and how they got ahead in life. That's the conservative value that people like Kevin Stitt champion. These are the values they want. The values that say, no man, you're a he, a she, or whatever I and my God say you were at birth. Even though it doesn't harm me one bit to let you do what you will on your birth certificate like that. It doesn't harm society at all. It doesn't do anything to anyone. It just hurts Kevin Stitt's feelings. And it hurts his personal values. His personal values. See, not this other guy's values who wants his birth certificate changed to a non-binary choice. That's, and that's actually who it hurts. See, because that's what conservatives do, like Kevin Stitt. They use the force and power of government to harm those that they disagree with, that they don't like. They want to make their lives harder. They want to use the force of government, the force of big conservative government, to harm those they disagree with. And that's what this is all about with Kevin Stitt. It's exactly why he's going after this. And how he's going after it is what he did. He put heat on the guy on the medical board that decided that to do this. He called him a rogue activist. These rogue activists. What's a rogue activist? I know what an activist is. They're on the left and they're on the right, and there's nothing wrong with activists at all. It's very legal to be an activist. There's nothing illegal about it, left or right. You can even be a radical activist. As long as you don't harm anyone or property or anything, you should be allowed to do it. But even at that, what's he talking about? Who is he talking about? And the fact that it makes him a rogue activist, somebody that's rogue because they disagree with the governor. So that's what this is. This guy who sat on this board did something the governor disagreed with, which is crazy on his face because this shows you something. Now, one of the big reasons people fail, one of the big reasons managers fail, is because they micromanage everything. You got all your people in place and the heads of these departments. You need to let them do their job. Because when the leader gets in there and starts micromanaging everything and starts doing stuff and making decisions for those people, well, he effectively hobbles those areas. And then he wonders why, at the end of the day, why he's losing. I'm losing. Why are we losing? Well, because you're micromanaging your people to death. Because they do something that you don't like. You know, they're always going to do something you don't like. They are. You know, employees do that. They have their own mind. You give them a task. You tell them, I need this done. They may not do it exactly the way you would do it. But hey, you know, at the end of the day, if they get a result and it brings in the profits that you want, you should let them do it. That's good management. But that's not what Kevin Stitt does. See, Kevin Stitt has to get in there and say, this guy didn't ask for proper guidance. Who's the guidance? Well, the governor. See, the governor is. Not some medical professional, not someone who's licensed or degreed or credentialed in the medical field. No, it's the governor. The governor who does finance. That's who you got to go to, because you know you might upset him. You might hurt his feelers, and you might get in the way of his principles. Yeah, that's our governor right there. I mean, then that's what we got right there with this whole binary choice issue. Big government conservatism. That's exactly what that is. So now he's going to stick everybody on this guy. And that's what he's going to do. So that's what he did. He got rid of him. You know, and he's the third head of that agency, the third head of that board in 2 years, 3 years. Yeah, we've had like 3 and 20 years head that. Now we've had 3 and 2 or 3. That tells you the level of incompetence of our governor when he can't keep people in a position that he appoints, that he gets in there, that, you know, they work out for some reason because he likes to micromanage too much. Because Governor Kevin Stitt, well, he's a power-hungry fool. That's exactly what he does. And that's exactly how he's playing this whole thing, see? And it's kind of a pattern you see with other Republicans. Hey, man, we need to purge these people out. And that's exactly what this is. It's a purge of people that don't hold to the beliefs, ideals, political leanings, or whatever of Governor Kevin Stitt. You need to be with him lockstep. Everything 100%. Can't have a mind of your own here. There's no freedom with him. He doesn't believe in it. I'll guarantee it. Not when he wants big government to come in to tell you what you're going to have on your birth certificate because his God told him that. That's what we have with Governor Kevin Stitt. Now, the last thing I'd really like to cover is the thing that Puppet AG's doing, because, you know, AG, Attorney General O'Connor, is out there going after school boards and schools. Of course, you know, that's what Republicans and conservatives do, conservatives in general. They go after schools, public, don't like them. So that's what we have here. Parents have gone in and have threatened administrators. Say, we know where you live. We're going to come find you. You need to be strung up. Strung up, yeah, they're being violent. They're throwing violent threats. Being loud, being rude, and disrupting meetings. So they kicked them out. Not only that, they did some other things. So now Joe Biden comes out and said, hey, man, we're not going to tolerate this. The DOJ came out and said, hey, we are not going to tolerate threats to administrators of schools and teachers. Can't be tolerated. Well, you know who this upset? It upset Governor Stitt. See, because Governor Stitt wants conservatives to be able to threaten people. He does. He just doesn't want them to threaten him. He doesn't want liberals to threaten them because they're cowards, see? They wouldn't be able to dish it, but there's no way they'll ever be able to take it. And that's Kevin Stitt, see? And it's why he cries so much. He cries all the time. Throws a fit every other week. That's exactly what he does. This is why I have to do a show about him every other week. Throws so many fits, loses so much money for our state and blows it. Because that's what he does. I don't know if you heard, yeah, he went down to the border. Went to the border. $12,200 plane flight to the border for a photo op. And you know what we billed for that? He billed us for it That's who we built. The Oklahoma citizen to fly down to the border so he could play border patrol, take a photo op, and put out a meme. It cost me and you $12,200 just in the plane flight. Yay, Governor Stitt. What a loser. What a total loser. And here we have, he's down at the border. I don't understand that. I don't understand that. We're in Oklahoma. We're fairly landlocked. I get it, I-40, I-35 corridor, all that stuff. But we're not at the border. So when he goes down there to play his little chicken little act, because that's what it was, total chicken little act. Oh, be afraid, people. I went to the border and peed all over myself. I spent $12,200 to do it so that I could look like a coward at the border peeing all over myself, telling you how horrible it is. The sky is falling and we're in crisis. And that's exactly what Kevin Stitt did with our $12,200. Well, I guess we should be happy it's not $2 million, because he really is the king of the $2 million fiasco. Well, this is Across the Desk with Kit Fairchild, and we'll see you next week.